Good morning, I'm Gretchen Hong. We're coming in live this Tuesday, the 26th day of August, bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. Class suspensions have been declared in several parts of the country today as the State Weather Bureau, Pag-asa, warns of a severe downpour caused by a low-pressure area and the southwest monsoon. A newly formed group is basically asking the president to create a special independent team to look into questionable government projects. We'll get to talk about it with the founders themselves later in the program. Tagged as Alice Go 2.0 by Senator Risa Ontiveros, a Chinese businessman was arrested by immigration authorities upon his arrival from Hong Kong on August 21. He was found to be posing as a Filipino using a fake Philippine passport and other falsified IDs. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, a low-pressure area and a southwest monsoon, or the southwest monsoon, continue to bring rains over several areas. For the latest, we will be joined on the show by Pag-asa weather forecaster John Manalo. Magandang umaga po sa inyo, John.
Magandang umaga po at ganoon din po sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Yung low pressure na ating minomonitor ay dumaan dito sa Bicol region at sa kasalukuyan, ito ay nasa coastal waters o Paracale, Camarines Norte. Samantala, dahil dito sa low pressure area na ito ay makakaranas ng maulap na kalangitan at mataas na tsansa ng mga pagulan yung mga kababayan natin dito sa Metro Manila, Cagayan Valley Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Bicol Region at Eastern Visayas. At nagpapatuloy pa rin po ng epekto ng southwest monsoon at dahil dyan ay magiging maulap din ang ating kalangitan na may kasamang mga pagulan dito sa buong Mimaropa Region, Zamboanga Peninsula, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, Northern Mindanao, Caraga at natitirang bahagi ng Visayas. Samantala dun sa mga lugar na hindi natin nabanggit ay magiging maaliwalas ang ating kalangitan lalo na sa southeastern part ng Mindanao at mababa yung tsansa ng mga pagulan. At kung ulan man ang magdadala nun ay yung mga localized thunderstorm. Meron tayong nakataas na weather advisory. Ito yung accumulated o yung total amount ng rainfall for the next 24 hours. From 5 a.m. today hanggang 5 a.m. tomorrow. At ito yung makakaranas ng 50 to 100 millimeters. Ito yung mga probinsya ng Isabela, Aurora, Bulacan, Quezon, Laguna, Rizal, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, Catanduanes at Masbate. Dahil po yan sa LPA. At dahil naman sa habagat, makakaranas ng 50 to 100 millimeters yung ating mga kababayan sa Palawan, Occidental Mindoro at Antique. Nasa medium chance pa rin yung development ng ating low pressure area at nakikita natin na sa mga susunod na oras ay babaybayin niya yung ating eastern coast. Papunta na ito dito sa eastern coast ng Quezon Province. At yan po yung ating update mula sa DOST Pag-asa.
May John, nag-recommend ng NDRRMC na walang pasok ngayong araw. Pero kapag tumingin ka sa labas, parang wala namang ulan. Maaari mo bang maipaliwanag? Anong oras namin dapat abangan yung pinakamatinding ulan nitong si low pressure area Sinto at pati na rin ng habagat?
Salamat po sa pag-mention niyan. Kung mapapansin din po natin, hindi kasama sa ating weather advisory yung Metro Manila. Ang isa po sa mga kinonsider ng cancellation ng DILG ay dahil din po sa surge ng mga tao na galing sa probinsya. Also, meron tayong susceptible maps o yung mga hazard maps natin from MGB at yun din yung isa sa mga basis natin nung cancellation in coordination din sa DENR. At yun po yung mga reason. Pero that doesn't mean na mababa yung chance ng pagulan. Actually, cloudy po kasama sa mga binanggit natin kanina na yung Metro Manila ay cloudy. Ibig sabihin, mataas pa rin yung chance ng mga pagulan pero hindi po ito enough para itaas natin sa weather advisory. So may mga ibang factors lang po talaga na kinonsider for that cancellation.
Ibig sabihin, yung mga siguro pauwi galing sa kanila mga probinsya over the long weekend ay dapat mag-ingat. Tama po ba?
Opo, isang factor po yan.
Oo. Doon sa dalawa, di ba, may low pressure area tayo, meron din po tayong habagat. Alin doon ang magdadala ng mas matinding pag-ulan, yung amount of rainfall?
Well, in terms po nung amount ng pag-ulan o yung intensity ay pantay pa rin po. Pero in terms ng dami ng lugar, mas marami pong maaapektuhan yung low pressure area kaysa dito sa habagat.
So dito tayo sa may Luzon, dapat maghanda at magbantay.
Yes po, opo.
Okay. Hanggang kailan natin naasahan ito na lumabas ng Philippine Area of Responsibility?
Yung scenario po natin dito no sa low pressure area ay magpapatuloy siya. Kasalukuyan kasi na stationary or hindi mabilis yung paggalaw nitong low pressure area na ito, pero nandun pa rin yung chance niya na mag-develop sa isang ganap na bagyo o tropical depression na tatawagin nating Jacinto. And then although mababa yung chance na mangyari yon, pero by sa mga susunod na araw ay may nakikita din natin sa ating analysis na may posibilidad na mag-dissipate na rin ito. Itong low pressure area na ito.
So siguro dahil kung low pressure area tapos hindi pa siya enough to classify as a tropical depression, once it moves inland, the weaker it becomes. Is that the correct assessment?
Yes, tama po yan.
Okay, mukhang good news so far no dito sa Metro Manila, wala masyadong pagulan, pero syempre just like John mentioned, everybody coming from the provinces going back to their homes, please do be careful as we have again we are monitoring a low pressure area going inland and making landfall, and as well as the habagat across Mindanao and Visayas. Maraming salamat sa iyo for joining us this morning and giving us the latest on the weather. We have John Manalo, Pag-asa weather forecaster. A new anti-corruption group has urged President Bongbong Marcos to form an independent body to investigate irregular government projects, particularly flood control works. The group, Artikulo 11, Citizens' War Against Corruption, was launched at the Quezon City Memorial Circle on Monday. Artikulo 11 said the body should include clergy, labor leaders, retired magistrates, and other respected figures. It also recommended Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong as a member, citing his strong stance against corruption in infrastructure projects. And to talk more about this new anti-corruption group, we will have Liberal Party Acting President Erin Tanyada and Labor Leader Calyodi de Guzman. Magandang umaga po sa inyong dalawa. Thank you for joining us.
Magandang umaga, Gretchen.
Magandang umaga, Gretchen.
Una-una, paano po nabuo ang Artikulo 11 at ano po ang layunin ng grupong ito? Sino ho bang gusto magpaliwanag?
Baka si Kong na.
Ako na.
Sige, go.
Well, ito'y nabuo siyempre dahil sa naging sona ng ating Pangulo, no, nung binanggit nga po niya na mahiya naman kayo. So addressing of course the legislators who inserted their projects in the General Appropriations Act of 2025 and years before that with regard to flood control projects, which basically based on the President's report some were non-existent or substandard, and this led to so much corruption in our government, no? And he followed that up with the listing of the different contractors who did these projects. And he did the third step by asking the citizens to report any anomalies with regard to flood control projects in their respective areas. So this is not only, I think, we should not only concentrate on flood control projects, but other projects as well. So that because of this, we believe that the president, based on his statements, is sincere, and we want him to continue and follow through with this and create an independent commission to get in the bottom of the graft and corruption. I mentioned yesterday, Gretchen, in 2013, which was 12 years ago, the smell of the pork barrel scam after the midterm elections came out. This was with regard to soft projects. Now, after the midterm elections of President Bongbong, it is now the hard projects hard infrastructure projects that I think we should look into, because this is where most corruption cases also happen.
Before we continue on with this interview, it seems that we have breaking news coming in. This is quite a shocker. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin has confirmed a major development from the palace. He announced that PNP Chief General Nicolas Torre III has been relieved from his post. Now, we expect more information to be released and we'll update you as the program continues. Your reaction to that, I guess? Una-una, no? Have you heard of that o nagulat din kayo?
Quite surprising considering that we haven't heard any news that is derogatory against General Torre. As a matter of fact, he has been fulfilling his role as Director General. So we'd like to find out more why the sudden relief that Executive Secretary Bersamin had announced.
Okay, we'll get to that later after this show. Kaliodi, kayo po, sino-sino ho ba ang parte nitong Artikulo 11? At ano po ang aasahan po namin mula sa grupo po ninyo?
Magkakaroon talaga kami ng pag-iimbestiga sa kasong ito at meron na kaming 77 na district na nakuha na may mga kaso ng flood control project na ito na substandard, GOES, at papailan namin ang kaso. Mayroon na kaming siguro week mula ngayon ay maiayos na yung ipapail na kaso sa mga nagpakana itong pagnanakaw sa pera ng bayan.
Oh, saan ho kayo magpa-file? Saan ho kayo magpa-file? Bilang napakalawak po nito eh. Infrastructure projects all across the country. Where do you plan to start?
Sa kung saan man po pwede, no? Pwede ba sa ombudsman, kung saan man na pwedeng i-file itong kasong ito para lang mapanagot yung ating mga kasangkot dito sa anomalyang flood control project.
Oo. Kayo po, Kong, would you have insight regarding that? Where do we start? I mean, meron pong sumbong sa Pangulo website. There's information there, but also even the LGUs are scrambling to get data on the scope of works and also the detailed price units of these infrastructure projects. Where do you plan to start as on your own probe?
Well, of course, what we have to do first is gather the evidence. No? That's very important. Number two, I think what is important is if really the president is serious, because even if we do our investigation, but we know that there are agencies that will not share the information that is needed in order to file the cases, then I think the president should create that independent commission with subpoena powers, and then, of course, appoint persons with integrity beyond reproach to conduct a serious investigation on the flood control projects, and hopefully not limited to the flood control projects, but other infrastructure projects being implemented by contractors and also by relatives of congressmen who are contractors. Because as we all know, the president's statement na mahiya naman kayo was really addressed to the congressmen who use hard projects, infrastructure projects, as a means for corruption. No, this has to stop, and of course we all know that corruption has always been there. It has been systemic, but the problem here, as reported by Senator Ping Lacson, we are lucky if there is 40% left in the project to be implemented. So where does this stop? Because if only 40% of the budget allocated to a project is left to be implemented, you can expect every year, no, there will be funding for that project, because the initial project was substandard. The subsequent project would be also substandard. So this is where corruption comes in. And I think it is about time that the president, if he is really serious in addressing this, because all presidents always say they are against corruption. And if he's looking for a legacy, no, in order to put an end or at least try his best to minimize corruption because it's very hard to guarantee zero corruption, then I think it will be a good mark on his record once he steps down from office. But if it will just be just announcing the anomalies that are happening all over the place, but without any cases being filed, then we'll just fall into the same trap.
Itong commission po, I mean, how do you imagine this body to be formed? Of course, it can't be under Congress or the Senate, right? If sinasabi po nating independent ito. Meron po ba kayong parang idea? In the past, ano po yung gumana na independent body to investigate this?
Well, if we look at history, there was always, of course, it was questioned, but there was the Agrava Commission that investigated the assassination of Senator Ninoy Aquino. There was the commission head by former Justice Feliciano that investigated the the coup d'etats that happened during the time of President Cory Aquino. So there were commissions that were created to really look into the problems. No, first of all, why was there why were there coup d'etats that were launched during President Cory Aquino's time? So these are important maybe guideposts, no, on how independent commissions should be created and be given substantial powers, because without subpoena powers to subpoena the documents, no, the contracts, the bidding, etc., then the commission will not be useful at the end of the day. Kaya importante talaga na pag-iisipan ng gusto, and this is the most important, the people that would be heading the commission should have integrity and beyond reproach, no? So these are serious people who really want to put an end to corruption in our country.
Si Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong, siya po ba yun, yung tinutukoy po ninyo na man of integrity who could lead this probe?
Well, he may be considered, considering that he has been speaking about corruption in our country, no, since he is the head of the Mayors for Good Governance. So he can be considered by the president. We can consider other people, members of the clergy, members of civil society. We can also consider workers, no, students, no, who have a stake in the future of our country. So these are people that the president should consider. How many they should be? I think it should be between maybe a maximum of 5 to 7 is enough, no? Because the investigation of these issues will be very broad. It would not cover only one specific area, but it would covers, I think, a lot of regions in our country.
I know you need to leave this show early, but just before you go, yung kaso po na dapat i-file po dito sa mga kung matatagpuan na nakikipagsabuatan para mangurakot po. Ano po dapat? Agree po ba kayo sa presidente na economic sabotage ang level ng usapan?
Pwede po, pwede po. As a matter of, ayoko lang pangunahan kung magkakaroon ng independent commission, no? Pero pwedeng economic sabotage, pwedeng iba to yung Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, pwede ring iba to yung plunder, depending on how much, no, was pocketed based on the contracts that were made. So there are a lot of things to be considered when cases are filed after an independent commission has has looked into this. And what is important also, Gretchen, I think it is a high time now that we also pass a freedom of information law in order to have access to these contracts. This freedom of information proposal has been pending in Congress since 1988 and has not yet seen the light of day. So this may be also one of the moves that the president may do.
Okay. I guess economic sabotage in the light of plunder, which has been considered by jurisprudence as a form of economic sabotage, has a penalty of life imprisonment. So medyo mabigat-bigat po ito, patuloy natin titignan na. Pero gusto ko lang puntahan si Calyodi, kasi siya po ay galing sa Nauhan, Oriental Mindoro, na nasa spotlight po ng privilege speech ni Senator Ping Lacson. Yung pong nabanggit po niya ay napansin nyo ba? At matagal na po ba itong kalakaran dyan sa inyo po?
Naku, Gretchen, napakatagal na sa nakalakaran yan. Yung mga substandard na mga proyekto, hindi lamang sa flood control, kundi sa maraming bagay na trabaho ng DPWH sa talamak na yan. Matagal na ang ganitong kalakaran na substandard, nagkakaroon ng corruption. Yung corruption ay parang hindi lamang sa Nauhan, kundi sa buong bansa. Parang tinanggap na parang kalakaran. At kapag nga ikaw ay tumanggi ngayon sa binibigay na pera sa inyo ng milyon at tinanggihan mo, parang ikaw pa yung tanga. At kahit ikaw ang nagsusumbo, ikaw ang naghahabol ng katarungan, ikaw pa ang aatakihin. Parang tinanggap na ng ating mga mamayan. At doon sa Nauhan, 19 billion ang binuhos. At itong 2025, halos 10 billion na karamihan ay mga substandard at ghost project. At yan ay nagre-reflect hindi lamang sa Nauhan nga, kundi sa buong bansa. At gusto ko sabihin, Gretchen, na idagdag na tingin ko kinakailangan nating idagdag magkaroon ng shame campaign para mabago na yung kultura ng mga Pilipino. May mungkahi nga ako na magtayo ng rebulto, hindi lamang ng mga nakukulong, at batuhin ng kamatis yung rebulto sa Luneta. Pangalawa, sa mas malalim, tingin ko ang punot dulo nito ay yung klase ng politika na meron tayo, na political dynasty, na wala namang intensyon sa pagpasok sa gobyerno, kundi ang magnakaw. At hanggat sila nakapwesto sa tuktok ng ating pamahalaan, sa Kongreso, sa Senado at Malacanang, hindi talaga titigil ang korupsyon sa ating bansa. Kaya nakita natin sa history, mula pa noon, panahon pa ng Marcos Sr. hanggang sa ngayon, dahil majority ng mga administrasyon ay puro political dynasty, laging nagagawa ang pagnanakaw despite ng maraming batas, maraming investigasyon na ginagawa. Kaya ulitin ko lang, Gretchen, political dynasty ang dapat wakasan. Kung yan ay nasa Senado na ngayon, dapat yan ay magkaroon na ng batas.
Dahil systemic nga po itong problemang hinaharap po natin. Pero babalikan ko lang ho dyan sa Oriental Mindoro. We had Representative Panaligan on one of our shows, Storycon. Dininay po niya na meron po siyang alam dito sa mga nangyayari sa mga infrastructure projects. Kumbaga parang sa national po yan, ibinababa na lang sa DPWH. Kayo po ba ay naniniwala na wala talagang alam yung congressman po ng Oriental Mindoro at tingin po ninyo hanggang saan po yung dapat maimbestigahan sa inyong pagsusuri?
Natural naman, kahit sinong inakusahan, lahat na lang inakusahan dito na mga congressman, senador, lahat naman ay tumanggit, sinasabing walang alam. Kahit sila Joel Villanueva, hindi niya kilala yung mga kaibigan niya. Ganyan din dito si Panaliga na tatanggihan. Pero klaro na ang kanyang ginawa dahil kiniklaim pa nga niya na project niya, di ba? Kiniklaim pa niya at pinagmamalaki sa District 1 ng Mindoro na yun ay proyekto niya at hindi mangyayari yan, Hindi mangyayari yan ganyang mga substandard o yung kalokohan ng mga kontraktor kung walang sabwatan nung nag-endorse ng project. At ang karaniwan, lalo kung sa District 1 nangyari yan dahil halos 55% ng flood control project inapunta doon sa District 1, sa Nauhan, may impluensya. Tiyak yan na mayroong kaugnayan. Kaya para masigurado, kinakailangan ma-undergo si congressman sa malalim na pag-iimbestiga. Dapat maisalang siya at doon ay patunayan niya kung siya totoong wala siyang kasalanan.
Maaari po bang dito kayo magsimula sa inyong hometown?
Kasama ang nauhan.
Oo. Meron na po bang nagbigay sa inyo ng mga dokumento?
Meron na. Kasama yan doon sa 77 na binanggit ko sa iyo kanina.
Oo, abangan po namin yan. What would it take, do you think, to pursue this? Kasi po medyo mabibigat po ang kinakalaban dito, mga taong nakaupo sa pwesto.
Tanggapin natin ang realidad sa ating bansa. Yung justice system dito hindi naman talaga nag-work. At nag-work lamang yan para doon sa mga may pera. Alam natin na nangyari kay Napoles. Si Napoles lang nakulong at mapaparusahan ng 55 years na pagkakulong ngayon. Samantalang yung mga kasabwat nila na mga promotor ay naging senador na ulit. Nakalayat, naging senador na ulit. Alam natin yan. Pero ang tingin ko mahalaga itong pag-usapan lagi at sunsunin. Kasi dapat ma-develop talaga sa atin yung kahihiyan, yung accountability, yung ma-develop yan at tingin ko makatutulong ng malaki yung sa batas ng pag-prohibit sa political dynasty dito sa ating bansa dahil nandun naman yan sa constitution na.
Oo. Siguro pati na rin po yung shame campaign na sinabi po ninyo, ano? The president bearing to all the list of contractors and ito nga po, no, hindi na siya kumbaga inilagay na lamang sa korte kundi parang pinakita po sa publiko. Although meron din pong danger 'yon, yung mga legitimate naman ho na nagtatrabaho na maayos at desente, yun din po ay kumbaga parang nalagay din sa spotlight, ano?
Tama ka, Gretchen. Pero tingin ko hindi lang pangalan kasi yung mga Pilipino malilimutin eh. Kaya dapat ipagawa natin ng rebulto yung mga makakasuhan at makukulong. Bukod doon, ipagpagawa natin ng rebulto sa luneta na pwedeng dalawit, sampal-sampalin o batuhin ng bulok ng kamatis para na sa ganon, yung buong pamilya niya hindi na sumunod. At tingin ko, kapag pumutok yun at lumaganap, madidevelop yung pag-iingat at paggawa ng masama ng sambayan ng Pilipino.
Okay, meron na po ba kayong date dyan para po sa binabalak niyo pagbato ng kamatis?
Iniisip ko pala na dapat gayon ang gawin. Ipaabuti natin sa hindi lamang pangalan, kundi talagang tayo seryoso para hindi makalimutan ng mamayan. Ay total, yun naman Luneta, ang sentro ng pasyalan natin, ay doon tayo magpagawa ng rebulto ng mga mapapatunayang magnanakaw, makukulong at dagdag, gawa natin ang rebulto na matibay-tibay na anytime na pumasya yung mga tao doon, ng mga galit sa corruption, pwedeng batuhin ng kamatis.
Leody, meron po kayong pangalan sa mga makakasama niyo po dito sa Artikulo 11?
Kami nila, Senator Tanyada, Congressman Tanyada, Erwin, saka si JB Bautista, nandiyan si Attorney Luke, at iba pa mga leader na galit dito sa nagaganap na korupsyon sa ating bansa. Napakalaki. May kwenta nga ako na baka umabot ng 1.5 trillion ang manakaw sa pondo ng 2025 dahil dito sa mga grabing insertion na ipinasok ng budget hearing sa 2025 budget.
Abangan po namin na yung resulta po ng inyong investigasyon na maganda po yan, side by side po natin doon sa probe ng presidente para din po makita na magkaroon po ng kahit paano checks and balances. We do hope for the success of your group's investigation at magtulungan po tayo in fighting against that. Maraming salamat for joining us. Umalis na po si Congressman Tanyada. We'd like to thank him also, Liberal Party Acting President Erin Tanyada, and of course we have Labor Leader Leody de Guzman joining us to talk about the newly formed anti-corruption group, Artikulo 11 or Article 11 in the Constitution, which is for the accountability of public officers. Maraming salamat po, Leody. Meanwhile, Batangas Congressman Leandro Leviste is set to file multiple charges against a DPWH district engineer who allegedly tried to bribe him with over 3 million pesos. More in this report.
Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Legarda Leviste inspected the Binambang Riverbank Protection Project in Balayan, Batangas. The project was completed by the Department of Public Works and Highways in December 2023, but was destroyed by Typhoon Christine in October 2024. This is part of nearly 340 million pesos worth of DPWH contracts in Balayan. Based on the contract, the sheet piles installed along the river should have been 15 meters deep. Out of the 3 sheet piles retrieved from the river, each measured only 4 to 5 meters long, far shorter than required.
Sabihin po natin, 1/3 lang pala ang haba ng sheet piles na actually na inilagay. 150 million pesos worth of sheet piles ay 50 million pesos worth lang pala ang inilagay. At kaya sinasabi nga ng ating Pangulo na malaki ang posibilidad ng korupsyon sa mga flood control projects dahil sa 150 na yan, 50 lang ang nakuha natin. Yung 100M na bakal na binili ng DPWH ay wala pala.
Amid Levista's investigation into flood control projects, the congressman revealed that a DPWH district engineer allegedly tried to bribe him to drop the probe. In an entrapment operation, authorities seized 3.1 million pesos in cash from the district engineer identified as Abelardo Calalo. It is still being determined which project Calalo was trying to cover up.
It is not a single incident of it is not a single incident last Friday. That is the issue here.
News 5 tried to get Calalo's side at the police station, but he refused to face the camera. Secretary Bonoan said the engineer has already been suspended.
Kasalanan po niya yan eh. Kung nag-bribe yan, let it be a lesson to all the district engineers in the department. Hindi, wala akong sasantuhin.
Today, August 26, Levista is set to file multiple charges against Calalo before the Batangas Provincial Prosecutor's Office. The alleged bribery attempt may also be taken up in the upcoming hearing of the House Infrastructure Committee.
Coming right up, President Bongbong Marcos has identified enemies of the nation, corruption and the abuse of power. He warned that making a mockery of the system can no longer be ignored, stressing that it repeatedly inflicts damage on society. More on that when Morning Matters returns. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Government work and classes at all levels in both public and private institutions have been suspended today, August 26, in several regions. Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla said the suspension was due to anticipated severe weather conditions, and the affected areas are Metro Manila, Aurora, Quezon, Rizal, Laguna, Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, Albay, Sorsogon, Catanduanes, Masbate, Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Bulacan, Nueva Ecija, Pampanga, Batangas, Cavite, and Naga. And President Bongbong Marcos warns that the nation's new enemy is corruption and the abuse of power. In his speech during the National Heroes Day commemoration at Libingan ng mga Bayani, Marcos said mockery of the system should no longer be disregarded because repeatedly it takes a toll on society. He also insisted on the importance of vigilance and disclosing the truth.
Kailangan din natin labanan ang banta ng katiwalian at pang-aabuso sa kapangyarihan ng ating lipunan. Dahil hindi lamang salapi ang kanilang ninanakaw, kundi pati ang kalusugan, pangarap at kinabukasan ng mga susunod na henerasyon na Pilipino. Bilang Pilipino, may pananagutan tayo sa ating bansa na maging mas mapanuri sa mga mali, na isiwalat ang panluloko at panindigan ang alam nating tama kahit hindi ito madali.
Senator Rizo Ontiveros raised concerns following the arrest of businessman Joseph C., who allegedly misrepresented himself as a Filipino and even joined the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary in 2018. Here is the report.
A Chinese businessman was arrested by the Bureau of Immigration shortly after arriving from Hong Kong on August 21. Joseph C., chairman of the mining firm Global Veronical Holdings Inc., was found to be posing as a Filipino using a fake Philippine passport and other falsified IDs. His real name is Sheng Zhongzhen, a Chinese national. For Senator Risa Hontiveros, C is like Alice Guo 2.0. A more alarming detail, the Chinese businessman had been appointed Auxiliary Commodore of the Philippine Coast Guard Auxiliary. Although the PCGA is voluntary and non-governmental, Hontiveros said it is disturbing that C gained access to people and events where issues of national security may have been discussed. She stressed that the Senate should investigate this. The Philippine Coast Guard, for its part, said it will also look into how C managed to enter its ranks and promised to release a detailed report. On the other hand, the Philippine Nickel Industry Association is calling for the immediate release of C. The group insists he is a Filipino citizen, claiming his citizenship was legally obtained and affirmed by the Bureau of Immigration in two separate rulings. For now, C remains detained at the Bureau of Immigration holding facility in Taguig.
Most Filipinos distrust China and see it as the country's greatest threat. That's according to a new Okta research poll. The survey conducted July 12 to 17 found that 85% of Filipinos distrust China, while only 15% say it deserves trust. Distrust was highest in Metro Manila and Luzon, with several regions registering a full 100%. Respondents also ranked China as the biggest threat to the Philippines, with 74%, far higher than Russia and North Korea at 4% each. The Okta poll was based on interviews with 1,200 respondents, with a margin of error of plus or minus 3%. Up next, two major projects on Cannon Road are now under scrutiny after President Bongbong Marcos expressed his disappointment during a recent visit. We'll delve deeper into this with the Tuba Benguet LGU when we return. Keep it here on One News. Good morning, I'm Gretchen on here at Morning Matters. We talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. President Bongbong Marcos inspected two major projects along Cannon Road in Tuba Benguet and expressed disappointment over their poor quality. The 260 million peso rock shed in Camp 6, completed in April, already showed landslides, erosion, and collapsed slope protection after recent storms. The president also criticized a 2019 rock netting project, calling it prone to corruption, with most of the budget lost to kickbacks. Marcos stressed that substandard infrastructure wastes public funds and harms the economy, especially with Cannon Road being a key access to Baguio. Let's discuss that further with Tuba Mayor Clarita Salongan's Executive Assistant and Spokesperson George Fukay. Magandang umaga po sa inyo. Welcome to our program.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning po and welcome po. Thank you po for inviting us today.
Okay, una-una, we just wanted to ask about the findings yesterday and the inspections with the President. Ano po yung mga nakita, no? Kasi meron na po tayong, may summary po tayo dun sa rock shed, pati na rin po dun sa mga rock netting. Pero ang feedback po sa inyo, ano pong nakuha po ninyong impormasyon?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we were there last Sunday when the President was... kasama ko po si Mayor Clarita Salongan, President, pero nung pumunta po siya malapit sa area ng rock shed, we were not allowed to go. So only him and Mayor Magalong was there.
Oo. Ito pong sa Cannon Road, kailan po nagsimula itong mag-erode? Actually, nadaanan ko na ata yan, no? Pero yung erosion, is it just because of the latest storms?
No, ma'am. Actually, that's the constant problem of Cannon Road. Kaya open and close po ang Cannon Road for, I think, so, kasi every time na meron pong risk po ang landslide sa buong area ng Cannon Road. One of which is the area kung nasan yung rock shed ngayon.
Oo, dito, no? So, ano po ang nakitang problema rito? Ano pong kakulangan?
The current situation po kasi ng area ngayon of yung kanyang slope protection, kasi pag nakita po natin yung rock shed, it's on the side of the mountain tapos magda-drop na po to the river yung side niya. So portion nung side na malapit sa river, which is supposed to be protecting the rock shed, ay bumigay po. So nagkaroon po ng landslide. Kaya exposed po yung certain area, yung small area ng rock shed, yung ilalim niya. Yun po yung nakita. Tapos yung entrance po ng rock shed, bumigay po yung, the road right at the entrance of the rock shed, bumigay po yung one lane ng kalsada. Kaya technically, pwede pong pumasok ang sasakyan pero one lane lang po ang papasok. Ito po,
so isa-isa po ang
isa-isa
ho ang dumadaan dyan, so laging traffic po dyan ngayon?
As of now, ma'am, we have closed Cannon Road to the public. So open lang po siya for light vehicles, but only for residents of Cannon or along Cannon Road.
Oo.
Para makontrol po natin yung flow ng traffic.
Ibig sabihin ho, wala bang riprap yung sa ilalim po nung rock shed na yan, which you said is next to a river?
Meron, ma'am. Yun po yung, according to DPWH, yung riprap po na yun, well, that's from the report of the DPWH which I heard. Sabi nila, old na daw yung riprap na yun na pinatungan ng rock shed. Tapos yun po yung bumigay. Kaya exposed po yung certain portion ngayon.
Okay. Just siguro to help us understand better that how this project turned out to be substandard, ano po yung expectations sa ganito? Ano po dapat, ano po yung itsura ng kompletong proyekto talaga?
Actually, ma'am, kompleto na siya bago nangyari ito eh. Buo na siya. It was open to the public already. Standard or not, as to the standards of construction, kung masasabi yan, but buo na siya, functional na siya bago nangyari ito. So, mga sasakyan 2 lanes bago po nangyari yung sunod-sunod na bad weather natin nung July.
Okay. According po to an actually investigative piece here from the Inquirer, they have identified the contractor in charge of that project, which is 3K Rock Engineering, who apparently is an ally of the president running for a House seat under Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. Ito po ba ay alam po ninyo? Si Francis
Well,
Cuyop na head po nung 3K Rock Engineering.
Kilala po namin siya, ma'am.
Oo.
As a actor in the area, and we also know for a fact from records na tumakbo po siya as congressman ng province of Ifugao.
Oho. Siya po ba ay nakausap niyo na regarding this project?
No po. No.
No, oo. And how many projects does their company have? This is a sole proprietorship again, receiving more than 1 billion peso in projects, about 40 plus. Pero dyan po sa sa Benguet, tsaka sa inyo po, sa area po ninyo, ilan po ang projects na ginagawa po nila?
Ma'am, we don't have a data on that actually. So it's what we keep on explaining because people don't believe that the LGU does not have any idea. We keep on explaining when it comes to projects through the LGU, so they don't get clearances, they do not get permits from LGU before they implement the project. Kaya po, the only way for us to go to DPWH and ask for the records po. That is why, nung gumawa po ng statement si President Marcos nung Sunday, na sinasabi niyang he will give back authority or he will give the LGU authority and power to either participate or accept the project when it's done, then we very much welcome that. And we do hope na mangyayari po yun para meron na pong way or meron na pong authority at personality ang LGU na makialam at tumingin po dito sa mga DPWH projects po.
Actually, kung iisipin niyo ho kasi, hindi po ba yung mga request ng mga flood control project dapat po nanggagaling din po sa local government na yung executive branch na nakakita po ano po yung lagay ng mga communities. Kaya siguro ang taong bayan naguguluhan. Bakit walang alam yung LGU? Hindi po ba kayo yung nagre-request po ng mga project na yan when you see a certain problem in your locality, tapos yun po ay pinapadala niyo po sa district engineering? Hindi po ba ganun yun?
Ma'am, for certain projects po, we do request po. Pero it ends up to there po. Up to requesting. When the request is granted, if the implementing body is the DPWH, then wala na pong say ang local government unit. And anong tawag po nito? For areas na jurisdiction po ng DPWH, for example, national highways po, they don't need to consult po with the LG. Because sabi po nila, mandate nila, trabaho po nila ang mga air. And unfortunately, ganun po talaga yung proseso.
Okay. Pero dito po sa specific project na Rockshed, have you requested already for the documents from DPWH?
For the specific documents, no, ma'am. But the mayor has sent a letter to the regional director of DPWH when this happened, asking for plans or ways forward on how to fix this and how to make sure that we open the road for the residents initially as soon as possible po.
Okay. Yung rock netting project was also inspected. What did you see over there?
Ma'am, for us po, we were not included po dun sa pagbaba sa rock netting. So, the mayor of Tuba did not join the president in inspecting the rock netting area po sa lower portion ng Quezon. So, it was only Mayor Magalong and the president who went there.
So hindi po kayo kasama doon, hindi po sa locality po ninyo. Oo. Okay. In terms of the inspecting of a project when it is completed, don't they require at least the LGU to sign off na ito na, tapos na nga, hindi po ba kayo kasama sa ganun?
Po. Yun nga po yung we have to explain na to the implementation, sa paniningil po, pagtapos na yung project, wala po silang or permit from the LGU. So, in short, hindi kami kasama sa process. Even if we do go there and inspect and say something, it's not a prerequisite for the project to be paid. Yun po yung sinasabi po, kaya po sinasabi po ni President nung Sunday, na give back the authority to the LGU to accept the project. Yun ang sinasabi niya. And so we said that would be a welcome development. That would be very good for the LGU and for the projects of DPWH. For us to make sure po na we are involved in the project.
Ibig sabihin ho, yung DPWH, pwede lang po sila magsimula dyan po sa inyo without any coordination at all with the LGU.
Yes po, ma'am. If it is part of their mandate, kung part po ng the national highways. Opo.
Okay. Okay, I guess yun nga po, no? I guess mas malinaw na rin ho kung bakit ganun po ang madalas na sinasabi. Pero ano po yung ibang projects po sa Tuba, Benguet which you'd like the President or an independent body to look into? Marami pa rin po bang nakikita ninyo na dapat tignan?
Well, if to look at all the projects of the DPWH, ma'am. So, kung titignan lang din naman lahat, baka pwedeng tignan na lang lahat din.
Bukod po dun sa
projects,
rockshed.
road openings, meron din po
Okay.
kaming mga flood control projects doon na implemented by the DPWH.
Oo, okay. So sa ngayon, ano po ang timeline po para maayos po itong daan sa Cannon Road? Ito po ba ay na-budgetan naman for this year? And how long will Cannon Road remain closed?
Ma'am, as to anong tawag nito po? As to the, let's say, because only DPWH answer that for us. Although according to the representative of the DPWH region po, nung na-interview siya, napanood ko, sabi niya meron naman daw po yatang nakabudget for 2026 for that area. I'm not sure if it's for repair or if it's for the extension of the rock shed. Pero nasabi po niya na parang merong 100 million budget for 2026.
Which is a far cry from the President's estimate of about 500 million. Sabi niya para ayusin ito, medyo malayo
Yes,
pa po yun. So ibig sabihin, medyo matatagalan yung pagsasaayos. Okay.
Yes po. So, nakita ko rin po sa news na pumunta po si DPWH Secretary kahapon at sabi naman niya they'll fast track everything for them to start repairing the fully two-way traffic po as soon as possible. Yun naman po ang statement.
Okay. Dito po sa pakikipag-usap ng mga mayor kay President Bongbong Marcos, bukod nga po dun sa pag-i-include ng LGU sa picture, asking for their permission or their acknowledgement of accepting a project, ano pa po yung mga measures na nabanggit nyo o nire-request po ninyo para mas mapabuti pa yung mga safeguards dito sa mga infrastructure projects?
Yun lang naman po, ma'am, ang main na parang request ng mga LGU to give them personality and probably participation in these kinds of projects. Kasi the LGU po is the best person or the best unit or the best office to say kung ano po ang nakakabuti or kailangan proyekto para sa kanilang jurisdiction.
I guess to loop the local
At saka
officials
para sa kanilang
in.
mga constituents.
Correct. It's good that it's actually funny that we're only learning about all of this now, pero maganda po makita yung buong proseso, no nga ba yung mga dokumentong available, and even the group I was speaking to earlier was pushing for freedom of information law on when it comes to infrastructure projects. But in the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong update regarding the meeting yesterday. We'll await the resolution of the president on that. We have George Fukai, I hope I mentioned that right, the spokesperson and executive assistant. Ano po? Fukai, okay. We have the executive assistant and spokesperson of Tuba Mayor Clarita Salongan, again, George Fukai. Now, so let's move on over to sports. Alex Yala's first-round win at the 2025 US Open guarantees her at least $154,000 or about 8.7 million pesos. The 20-year-old advanced to the round of 64 after defeating world number 14 Clara Towson, making history as the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam match at the US Open. Iyala will return to the court on Wednesday to face the winner between Cristina Buxa and Claire Liu. If she wins, her earnings will rise to at least $237,000 or 13.4 million pesos. What a good way to earn your keep and earn money, hard-earned indeed. We congratulate Alex Iyala for getting that, for netting that. Before we go, I'd like to make a shout out to Ika Batch 78 who did the public service over the weekend in Bukidnon, gave some medical supplies and eye checkups and also bloodletting services for the indigenous peoples of Bukidnon. Magandang umaga. Thank you so much for watching. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you the right start to your morning. Let's go ahead and make the day matter. My name is Gretchen Hall. We are One News, all sides, all the time.